Supersonic travel is returning. After Concorde's fall, many people thought fast commercial flights were gone forever. But now, new jet is trying to succeed where Concorde failed. This new aircraft has lower noise, better fuel efficiency, and much longer range, solving the problems that brought Concorde down. Concorde was iconic, but it was loud, expensive, and couldn't fly. This next generation supersonic jet wants to rewrite the rules and take us into a faster future. But can it truly deliver, or is supersonic flight still chasing a fantasy? Today on Missile Lemons, we dive deep into the aircraft that could finally achieve what Concorde couldn't and has now reached hypersonic. The journey of supersonic commercial flight started back in the 1950s when Britain first began exploring the idea of building a passenger jet that could fly faster than sound. It was an exciting concept that France quickly joined in. To make it happen, both countries decided to team up. On November 29, 1962, Britain and France signed a joint agreement. They decided to share everything: ideas, designs, money, and even factory work. They called the project Concorde, a word that means agreement in French. The name came from French President Charles de Gaulle's speech. The very first Concorde ever built was called 01, and it made its first test flight on March 2, 1969, into France. The French pilot was proud when the plane landed safely and said, "The big bird flies." Just weeks later, the British prototype 0002 had its own maiden flight in Bristol, England. People were amazed. That same year, both versions of the plane were shown off at the Paris Air Show. They became instant stars of the aviation world. One of the most famous Concorde's registration, Taboa, is still in display at the National Museum of, reminding everyone just how remarkable this aircraft was. Concorde's biggest moment came on September 26, 1973, when it made its first non-stop flight across the Atlantic. It flew from Washington, D.C. to Orly Airport in Paris in just 3 hours and 33 minutes. Setting new record. The plane averaged 954 miles per hour, flying faster than the speed of sound. Commercial Concorde service began in January 21, 1976. British Airways flew from London to Bahrain, while Air France flew from Paris to Rio de Janeiro. These were ordinary flights. Concorde was the only jet that could cut transatlantic travel time in half. Wealthy travelers and time-sensitive professionals were eager to pay the high ticket prices. A historic moment came on July 1, 1999. That day, Queen Elizabeth II opened the Scottish Parliament. To celebrate, a Concorde flew over the Parliament, challenged the RAF Red Arrows as a 21-gun salute was fired. It was a powerful symbol of British pride and technological excellence. Flying on Concorde was like stepping into the future. The jet flew faster than Earth's rotation. You could leave London after breakfast and land in New York before breakfast time there on the same day. Famous broadcaster Sir David Frost once said that Concorde was the only way you can be in two places at once. From its first commercial flight in 1976 to its last in 2003, more than 2.5 million people experienced Concorde supersonic magic. Every passenger received a special certificate proving they'd broken the sound barrier. Inside of the cabin, passengers could view a Mach meter mounted near the front. It didn't show speed in miles per hour, but in Mach numbers. Mach 1 meant the plane was going the speed of sound. Mach 2 meant it was flying twice as fast. Watching the numbers rise made the flight feel like a real adventure. Concorde could fly from London to New York in under 3.5 hours compared to 7 or 8 hours on regular planes. It cruised at an altitude of 18,000 meters, nearly double that of normal jets. From that height, passengers could see the curve of the Earth, and the thinner air reduced drag, helping it fly even faster. Speed wasn't the only thing that made Concorde special. It was pure luxury. Passengers were served cocktails, champagne, caviar, lobster, even fine cigars. Actual royalty flew on Concorde. Queen Elizabeth II always sat in seat 1A. In 2003, a return ticket cost over €6,600. But people weren't just paying for a yacht, they were buying time, style, and prestige. Between 1976 and 2003, British Airways Concordes completed nearly 50,000 flights. They flew over 140,000 hours and covered 140 million miles. Enough to circle the globe more than 5,600 times. Over 1 million bottles of champagne were served during that time. But despite all its greatness, Concorde had serious troubles. One of the biggest was fuel usage. Its four engines burned an incredible amount of fuel, making flights extremely costly. A single flight could consume over 6,700 gallons. That made it almost impossible to turn a profit. Only 20 Concordes were ever built. No airlines wanted to buy them. Only British Airways and Air France operated them, and only because they were At the time, there were other issues too. Flying at high speeds caused loud sonic booms that could break windows and disturb neighborhoods. Concorde wasn't allowed to fly overpopulated areas. It had to stay over oceans, which severely limited its routes, even near airports. It was noisy and often caused complaints. Environmental groups also criticized Concorde's pollution. What was once seen as a symbol of progress became viewed as noisy, wasteful, and outdated. It wasn't limited to a few elite routes: Mach, Torino, York, Washington, London, and Paris. Then tragedy struck. On July 25, 2000, an Air France Concorde crashed just after takeoff from Charles de Gaulle Airport in Paris. The crash killed 100 passengers, 9 crew members, and 4 people on the ground. After that, all Concordes were grounded. British Airways, Concorde, Alpha Medici, final flight from New York to London. August 12, 2000. There were attempts to bring Concorde back. In 2001, after a $17 million upgrade, the jet returned to service, but it was too late. Then came the 9/11's attacks. Air travel declined sharply. Concorde's high costs and fewer passengers made it unsustainable. By 2003, it was over. British Airways announced the retirement of its remaining Concordes. Farewell flights were held across the UK and North America. People gathered to watch sleek white jet fly one last time. After retirement, the planes were placed in museums worldwide. One Jabot no assist at the National Museum of Flight in Scotland. Though grounded, Concorde remains a symbol of innovation and international cooperation. But while many thought Concorde's final landing marked the end of supersonic travel, a new wave of innovation began to rise. Enter, boom, Supersonic. This American start is leading the revival of high-speed air travel, with 2 exciting jets, the XB-1 and the Overture. Their goal is to bring back supersonic flight, but with better fuel efficiency, quieter engines, and longer ranges than Concorde ever had. The XB-1, known as the Baby Boom, is a smaller test aircraft. It's powered by 3 General Electric J85 engines and can fly at Mach 2.2 over twice the speed of sound, with a range of over 1,000 nautical miles. The XB-1 is built with modern materials like carbon fiber composites, giving it strength while keeping it light. It also uses advanced digital controls and even an augmented reality vision system to help pilots with landings, solving the fuel and weight issues that plagued Concorde. Boom is making real progress. They've promised that both the XB-1 and their upcoming passenger jet, the Overture, will be carbon neutral. They plan to use sustainable aviation fuel and energy-efficient systems which matches the global demand for clean. The XB-1 also has an aerodynamicist with a long nose and delta wing, helping reduce drag and minimize sonic booms. This could allow Boom's jets to fly over land without causing the loud shockwaves that grounded Concorde. The XB-1 was officially revealed in October 2020. Since then, Boom has done multi-pulse flights. In October 2024, one of the most important tests used a flutter excitation system, a method for checking how aircraft parts move under stress, like a bird's wings in turbulent air. It ensures safety and stability at high speeds. Boom reached a major milestone when their chief test pilot, Tristan Geppetto Brandenburg, broke the sound barrier 3 times in one flight over the U.S. mainland, a first for any civilian jet. Boom's chief flight engineer Nick Sharika said this proved a small company could achieve what only big governments once could. They didn't just prove it once, but 6 times. Boom had shown that smart design and determination could bring supersonic light back. What makes Boom different is that it's privately funded, unlike Concorde, which depended on governments. Boom represents a new chapter of private innovation in aviation. Their goal is to create a commercial passenger jet, the Overture, that can carry 65 to 88 people at Mach 1.7. A New York to London flight will take just 3.5 hours. A flight from LA to Sydney could take only 8 hours. Overture will use lessons learned from XB-1. It will be made of carbon composites, use sustainable fuel, and have quieter engines. It's designed for speed and comfort. Each seat will have a large window, more legroom, and modern tech, unlike the cramped interiors of Concorde. And here's the best part: Boom wants to sell tickets at business class prices, not luxury prices, that could make supersonic travel more accessible than ever before. United Airlines has already ordered 15 Overture jets with an option for 35 more. That's a big sign of confidence. Boom has also partnered with U.S. Air Force to explore military uses for Overture, possibly for fast military transport or national defense.